You're listening to the Houses and Spouses podcast with Ryan Hamilton. Ryan Hamilton is a real estate agent with Good Oak Real Estate and the heart behind the I Do Guru, helping people build strong foundations, both in their homes and in their marriages. Let's get into it.
Welcome to another episode of the Houses and Spouses podcast with Ryan Hamilton. I am said Ryan Hamilton of the Houses and Spouses podcast. Excited to do a solo episode today and kind of bring together two things that I'm very familiar with and that I kind of see every day and I live every day. So we're bringing them together. We're going to compare renting and dating versus buying a house and getting married. Lots of parallels there. We're going to get to it. But before we get into it, you know the deal. You know, I used to hate facial hair, but then it grew on me. Some would say it's not growing in very well, a little patchy. I'm 44 years old, but we'll get there one day. So, dad jokes aside, I spend a lot of time talking to people about two big decisions in their lives: who you're going to build a life with and where you're going to live while you're doing that. The more I think about it, the more I realize dating versus marriage is a lot like renting versus buying. You're in different stages, you've got different responsibilities, and there are different expectations, okay? Neither one is wrong as long as you understand what season of your life you're in. And we'll talk about this today. This will be a short solo episode. We'll talk about three main ideas again. So welcome back to the Houses and Spouses podcast. Point number one, low commitment versus long-term buying. So dating is renting. You're testing the waters. You're figuring out what you like. You're not making lifelong promises yet, and that's okay. And that's the same thing with renting. It's a short-term commitment. It's lower risk. It's easier. It's not always the easiest in the middle of it, but it's easier to walk away if things aren't working and if it's not a fit. Marriage is buying. You stop asking the question, is this fun? And you start asking, is this sustainable? Is this long-term? Same with home ownership. You're thinking long-term. You're thinking stability. You're asking, can I see myself here when things get messy? And this part really does matter, okay? Renting is not failure, and dating is not failure. But those are the preparation stages, right? Those are a means to an end. It's not the destination for most people, okay? Point number two, flexibility versus stability. Dating and renting are all about flexibility. You can pivot quickly. You can try new things. Make sure you let go of the old thing before you try the new thing. You're not locked in, okay? And honestly, that's awesome, especially in seasons when things are changing in your life very fast. But marriage and buying a house offer something different, okay? They're offering stability. Stability lets you build equity, allows you to put down roots. You stop constantly asking what's next, and you just start building something. You're building your life with whoever. You're building a life with someone in your new house. In real estate, stability builds wealth. In relationships, stability builds trust. Flexibility can feel exciting, and stability can feel boring until you realize that it's quietly and slowly and meticulously just changing your life. And it's usually for the better. So that's point number two. All right, that brings us to point number three, short-term comfort versus long-term growth. So when you're dating or renting, someone else is handling the big problems, right? Broken water heater, not your problem. That's the landlord or the property management company's problem. HVAC system goes out, call somebody. You may be hot for a day or two, but you're not paying for it. Dating, emotional baggage, just keep swiping. Maybe that one date was the last date. Marriage and buying, they flip that script though, right? You own the problems. You fix the roof when it goes out in the house that you own. You work through the hard stuff. And yeah, that can be annoying. But ownership is also where growth happens. Every repair that you make to your house adds value. Every hard conversation that you have with your partner builds equity in that relationship, builds trust. It's not instant. It's not always comfortable, but over time, absolutely 100%, it happens. So my big takeaway on this short solo episode is not everyone should buy a home right now. And I know as a real estate agent, I probably shouldn't say that, but I do. I know when I talk to potential buyers, I've counseled buyers out of buying a home at this point in their life because of a variety of reasons. I've done that before. And then they came back when they were ready and then in that season, and then they did it then. Not everyone should get married right now as well. I don't do a lot of couples counseling in my wedding officiating capacity, but I do know that is true, that not everyone should be getting married right now. But pretending renting or dating is the end goal, that usually doesn't work. That's where people kind of get stuck, right? Ownership, whether it's a home or it's a relationship, isn't easier, okay? It's not easier to own a home versus rent one. It's not easier to be in a stable long-term relationship than not. It's just where long-term value gets built. When you own a home or when you own a relationship that's healthy and communicative and long-term. So if this episode made you think about where you're at, good. That's the point. Have those conversations. Have those thoughts. Reach out to me on the housing front. Reach out to me on the couples front, and I'll do my little bit best, but I'll probably refer you to somebody that's more of a pro. But if you're renting, dating, buying, married, or somewhere in between, you are not behind. You're just in whatever season that you're in, okay? To use a Taylor Swift thing, you're in whatever era that you're in. So thanks again for joining us on this short solo episode of the Houses and Spouses podcast with Ryan Hamilton. I'm Ryan Hamilton, your local real estate agent here in the Phoenix and Tucson area for Good Oak Real Estate and the heart and soul behind the I Do Guru. Hey, if you enjoyed this episode, or even if you just don't enjoy this episode but you enjoy me, please like, share, subscribe. Just trying to get as many followers and in front of as many people as we possibly can. So if you like us on Spotify, go ahead, just log in real quick to YouTube and like us there. And same with Apple Podcasts. So appreciate you guys. I'm dropping every Friday pretty consistently. So get it going. 5 a.m., 5:01 a.m. every single Friday. We're looking to drop episodes. We may miss one here and there, but I've got the next 3 or 4 weeks lined out. So thanks for joining us. Have a good day. Peace.
This has been the Houses and Spouses podcast with Ryan Hamilton. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe and share this episode with someone who needs it. For real estate help or a wedding ceremony crafted with care, connect with Ryan online. See you next week.